Hello everyone, it's Joe from OnePageZen.com, and today in this tutorial, I'm going to show you step by step how to deploy a WordPress website on Microsoft's Azure cloud platform. In part one of this tutorial, you're going to learn how to configure WordPress on a Microsoft Azure virtual machine instance. Then, in part two, you'll learn how to configure your custom domain name with your new WordPress website on Azure. And then finally, in part three, you will learn how to configure free auto-renewing SSL certificates for your new WordPress website on Azure. So let's get started. All right, so let's head on over to the Azure portal and let's go to the search field here and let's search for Marketplace. All right, let's select Marketplace. And inside of Marketplace, let's search for WordPress Bitnami. Press Enter. All right, and here we have WordPress Certified by Bitnami. So I'm going to click this Create button. All right, so now let's configure our instance. All right, so in the virtual machine name field here, I'm going to give my website a name. So for the instance size, I'm going to do the standard B1. And if you're questioning which instance or machine type to use here and want a little more information about pricing, then be sure to check out this tutorials page at onepagezen.com where I go a bit more into detail on this subject. Link is in the description to this video. So let's leave this as is, and our username, we're going to have to remember this for later, is going to be Azure user. All right, so now I'm going to review and create. And if you don't want to jump to the review page and want to configure additional details related to your instance, then you also have the option of just doing the next. But I think the defaults are fine as is, at least for our use case. So you'll have to enter your name, your email, and your phone number. And once that's done, click the Create button at the bottom of the page. And you're going to click this button to download your private key. All right, so now the deployment is in progress. All right, great. Now that our instance has deployed, let's click this Go to Resource button. And let's copy our public IP address here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to configure the domain name for our new WordPress website here. So we need this public IP address in order to configure our domain name. So now that this is copied, I'm going to head on over to my domain name provider, which is Namecheap. So from my domain names dashboard on namecheap.com, and my domain is onepagezen.com, I'm going to make sure that I have Namecheap Basic DNS selected in this name servers row here. And then I'm going to head on over to the Advanced DNS tab. All right, now you can see I have two records here. I have an A record and a CNAME record. Now, if you have other records already configured that you need, you can leave them as is. However, if you're starting from scratch, I recommend deleting all of the existing records that you have and instead creating the A name and C name record. So what I'm going to do with this A name record is I'm going to change the value here, and I'm going to paste in that public IP address that we copied from our instance details in the Azure portal, and make sure this value is the same, make sure this value is the same, make sure all of these values match except for the IP address, because this will be unique to your instance. So I'm going to click the green Save Changes button here. And you can leave, well, I can leave the CNAME record as is because it already has my domain name, but you would need to change this onepagezen.com to your own domain name. And once you've done that, again, you will click the Save Changes button or icon here. Okay, perfect. So now your domain name is configured. So let's head on back to our Azure portal. All right, so the next thing we need to do is to SSH into our WordPress virtual machine instance. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my terminal emulator, which in my case, I am using git bash for Windows. So the first command I'm going to run is cd downloads. So this is because our private key file was saved to the downloads directory. So that's where we need to execute our SSH command from. The next thing I'm going to do is change the permissions on the SSH key on the private key file. So to do that, I'm going to do chmod 600 and the WordPress website underscore key.pem, that is the name of this file. That is the name of the private key that we downloaded in one of the earlier steps. And now the last command I'm going to execute here is the command to SSH into our instance. So I have these commands available for copy and paste on this tutorials page at onepagezen.com. So if you need that link, check out the description to this video. Right, and our username is Azure user, and this again was configured in an earlier step. It's the default, and then I'm going to paste my the IP address to my virtual machine instance, and press enter, and do yes. All right, so now you can enter clear, which will clear out all of the output on your terminal. As you can see, we are still connected to our instance. All right, so now that we're connected to our virtual machine instance, the next step is to execute a command which will automate the process of creating our SSL certificates for our website. So to do that, we're going to enter the following command. All right, so now it's asking us for our domain names. So my domain is onepagezen.com and www.onepagezen.com. And remember to change these to your own domain names. Do not use onepagezen.com. This is specific to your own domain name. So just remember that, and then press enter. All right, so we do want to enable HTTP to HTTPS redirection. So I'm going to do Y, press enter. And I recommend using the version of your domain without the www prefix. So I'm going to do N here. And since I don't want the www prefix, I'm going to enable the redirection to the non-www version of my domain. So I'm going to do Y. I'm going to do Y again. All right, and enter my email address, enter your email address, I should say. And agree to the subscriber agreement. All right, great. So it looks like the SSL certificates were configured successfully, which is great. So I'm going to press enter to continue. And the last command I'm going to run here is to view the credentials for my WordPress website. That way I'm able to log in. So I'm going to execute the following command. Press enter. And as you can see, this is now showing us the username and password for the WordPress instance. So I can see the username is user. That's easy to remember. The password, however, I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to head on over to onepagezen.com, which is my newly configured website, and /WP login. Press enter. And I'm going to enter user as the username. And for the password, I'm going to paste that password that I just copied from the terminal and press the login button. And voila! We've successfully deployed a WordPress website on Microsoft's Azure cloud platform, complete with a custom domain name and free auto-renewing SSL certificates. And that's it for this tutorial. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the box below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and check out onepagezen.com for many other great cloud computing tutorials. Thanks a lot for watching.